Hello once again, everybody, and welcome into the final week of January for 2010 on the Parker and the Man page at yournews.com. How can we be in the final week of January already? Didn't it just start? But here we are, the 25th of January. Before we do anything else, people, take a little respite here before we talk NFL, Super Bowl, Saints, Colts, any of that. Give it up. Happy birthday, number 92, to Ernie Harwell. Yes, sir. Ernie Harwell, 92 years young today. We all know about the incurable and inoperable bile duct cancer that Ernie has. We heard about it last summer. We saw the almost tearful goodbye at Comerica Park over the course of the summertime. His interview with Bob Costas on the MLB Network. Almost saying goodbye to the people, the good people of Detroit and baseball fans everywhere for really many, many great years. If you think about it, and I'm going to count this as a new decade, 2010, that's 11 decades for Ernie, born in 1918. So happy 92nd, Ernie. To you and Miss Lulu, maybe you have another great 92 years as far as I'm concerned, because everything's been said about the legendary Detroit Tigers Hall of Fame broadcaster that could possibly be said. What a terrific man, terrific human, and a great broadcaster. 92 years old, young. 92 years young, because he's always stayed young. Ernesto Harwell, my guy. Whew, 92. Made it today, January 25. All right, NFL, you saw the games yesterday. That's what I'm writing about. Kind of the Lions connection to this, because we want to make it local. The Saints and the Colts, they did the job. The Saints beating Brett Favre and the Vikings in overtime down in New Orleans in front of 71,000 people. The rally cry for Hurricane Katrina from 4.5 years ago when the Superdome was used to house thousands of homeless people who were obviously ousted from their homes by the hurricane, to the point where it came to yesterday in the evening, when the Saints made the Super Bowl for the first time in the 43 years of their history. Tom Benson, the owner, who's owned the team since '85, he didn't dance around with that umbrella like he did once, but he was very excited holding the George Halas Trophy. So the Saints go, and the Colts, of course, Peyton Manning, outstanding, the best in the business today at quarterback for Indianapolis. Rookie coach and Jim Caldwell replaced Tony Dungy. Didn't know what they'd have down there. We saw what they had. A team going back to the Super Bowl for the second time in 4 seasons, and Peyton Manning getting him there. So it'll be Peyton Manning against Drew Brees. Brees is the 7th Big Ten quarterback, 3rd from Purdue to a quarterback a team in the Super Bowl. They'll all head down to Miami in 2 weeks following the Pro Bowl this week. I got a column on that later, how silly the Pro Bowl is before the Super Bowl. But the Lions angle is such that with the Saints going and the Cardinals going last year, couldn't we always count on Arizona and New Orleans for never going to the Super Bowl? The Lions become really the last remaining team to not get there. The Cleveland Browns are there too. I'm talking about pre-merger teams, not the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Houston Texans. As it is, there's only 4. But I'm talking pre-merger. And, of course, Cleveland has some connection because the Baltimore Ravens have gone and won a Super Bowl, and they were, of course, the Cleveland Browns, moved to Baltimore back in the 90s. So the Lions got to hold the banner as the only team. I mean, 1930, 79 years of action and no Super Bowls in the 44 years the Super Bowl's been created. Never been there. And the Lions can be shameful today. They can hold their heads down in shame. They can bury it in the sand and say, we're like it. The only team now that New Orleans, Arizona, Tampa, they've all gone to the Super Bowl, and the Lions sit there on their own island, never going, and not coming close to it. So check that out. Check the column out. Read all about the games yesterday, and the histories of Brees and Manning. The New Orleans is kind of weird if you think about it. Brees went to school in Indiana. Manning grew up in New Orleans. His daddy was Archie Manning, the great Saints quarterback. Well, good Saints quarterback. Face of the franchise, though, from 71 to 82. And now they'll be competing against each other in Miami on February the 7th. The Vegas odds are out. The Colts are listed as a 4-point favorite over the Saints in the early odds, and that sounds maybe a little low, actually. I think Indianapolis is going to win this thing, and I think it might be more than 4 points, because I just think Manning, I just think the world of him. He walks the talk. He does the commercials. He hosts Saturday Night Live. He does other stuff, and yet he goes out there and gets it done, performs. So the odds are out. 4-point Colts over the Saints in Miami at Sun Life Miami Dolphin Stadium, just newly renamed, I think, for this week to get the money thing involved. So there you go. Saints and Colts. There's your teams. Vikings, Brett Favre. I don't think there's a reason to think about retirement because he had such a great year. So I don't think we'll hear about that mess. He should be back in 2010 this year. And the Jets, Mark Sanchez got a lot going for him, and so does rookie coach Rex Ryan down there. So you'll see those teams, I think, do well this coming season as well. Phil Mickelson's always been good at his Super Bowl picks. He might pick Might have picked the Colts, or even the Saints. If he picked them in the summer, they were 18-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. He's done very well, as I mentioned in that, and he is back playing this week in golf at Torrey Pines. No Tiger Woods, who's still down at the sex rehab clinic in Mississippi, but Phil will play. Tom Watson gets a win. Last week he played with Jack Nicklaus in the senior skins game, the champion skins game, and this week he beats Fred Couples. Yes, Fred Couples, now 50, joins the Champions Tour, but Tom Watson at the age of 60, after that great run to the British Open last year on the PGA Tour, goes back to his senior tour, his Champions Tour, and gets a win in the first official week of the season over a guy, Freddie Couples, who I know is going to win a number of times on that tour. The Mavs and the Knicks, if you didn't hear, Dallas beat New York at Madison Square Garden by 50. That's 50 points. It's the worst loss ever by the Knicks at Madison Square. Mike D'Antoni, I don't know if he'll lose his job over it, but Rick Carlisle sure did a number with a 50-point win over the Knicks. You can read about that. And the Venus Williams underwear flap down in Australia, you know, she's got this skin-colored underwear, and when the slits in her skirt come up, her yellow skirt, it looked like she was going commando, wearing nothing underneath. Hey, why do you think they call Australia down under? There you go. Yeah, but it's all the rage down in Australia, and it's made its way up here. And Kelly Kulick, if you don't know her, she's on the Pro Bowling Tour, and she's the first female ever to win a men's event. So Danica Patrick move over, Nancy Lieberman move over. Kelly Kulick has joined you, 32 years old from New Jersey, wins on the Pro Bowlers Tour. And after all the years of the Pro Bowling Tour with the great legends, Earl Anthony and Johnny Petraglia and Dick Weber and Don Carter and all those guys, Kelly Kulick's name is on that list now, too. First woman to ever do that. It's all written there in the Parker and the Man page at earnews.com. And one more time, everybody, you can read it all, the NFC, AFC playoff thing, the championship game, Super Bowl, Colts and Saints, and all the rest of the stuff. 92 years old, Ernie Harwell. Happy birthday, Ernie, from everybody here at yournews.com.